Have you ever finished a walk and thought to yourself, why am I still feeling stiff, tired, or sore? Wasn't walking supposed to help with that? If you're over 70 and relying on walking as your main form of exercise, you're not alone. It's a routine many of us trust. It's simple, it feels safe, and we've been told for years that it's one of the best things we can do for our health. But what if I told you that walking, while still valuable, might not be enough anymore? In fact, if walking is all you're doing, you could actually be missing out on the key movements that protect your body from aging faster than it should. And that's not just me saying it. Many doctors and aging specialists are now speaking up about this very thing. You see, after 70, your body doesn't just need motion. It needs the right kind of motion. Motion that supports your strength, your balance, your posture, and your joints. Because here's the truth. The kind of movement that worked when you were 50 may not be the same kind your body needs now. And knowing the difference could mean the difference between just getting by and truly thriving in your 70s, 80s, and even 90s. So today, I want to share with you 5 specific habits that go beyond walking. Habits that can help you live longer, move more freely, and feel stronger every day. And don't worry, these are not extreme workouts or complicated routines. They're practical, simple habits that real people over 70 are using right now to stay independent and energized. Let's begin with something that is quietly vanishing from the lives of millions of seniors, even though it plays one of the biggest roles in preventing falls, injuries, and hospital stays. Strength. Let me tell you about Frank. He's 74, retired, and proud of his daily walking habit. Rain or shine, Frank logs about 7,000 steps a day. But over the last year, something began to change. One day, he bent down to pick up a box of books and couldn't get it off the ground. Another time, he had to grab the arms of his chair just to stand up. He thought, is this just what getting older feels like? But then his doctor gave him some news. Frank wasn't just getting older. He was losing muscle mass. It's something called sarcopenia, and it starts to creep in quietly after 60, then speeds up if you don't fight it. Walking, period. While great for circulation and endurance, just isn't enough to build or preserve the kind of strength your muscles need as you age. Especially the muscles in your legs, hips, core, and arms. Those are your stability muscles, the ones that keep you standing, reaching, bending, and lifting. Frank decided to make a change. He didn't join a gym. He didn't start lifting heavy weights. He simply added light strength training to his day. Resistance bands, bodyweight squats using a chair for support, lifting a soup can overhead, or doing a few push-ups at the kitchen counter. Within a few weeks, he noticed something powerful. He could carry his groceries without struggling. He stood up from the couch without groaning, and he even started walking better. More upright, more confident. The best part? Research shows that even in your 70s, 80s, and beyond, strength training can actually reverse some of the muscle loss we assume is permanent. That means it's never too late. And it doesn't take hours a day. Just a few consistent movements that challenge your muscles can make a remarkable difference. Now, if you're wondering whether this applies to you, try this. Sit in a firm chair, cross your arms, and stand up without using your hands. Was it easy? Or did it feel shaky or difficult? That one test can tell you more about your functional strength than any doctor's chart. And if it felt like a challenge, don't worry. That's your starting point, not your limitation. Let's shift gears now to something most people don't realize they're losing until it's too late. Balance. It's one of those silent abilities we take for granted, until we can't anymore. And just like strength, balance must be trained, or it starts to fade. Let me share the story of George, a vibrant 76-year-old who'd never had a fall in his life. One day, he stepped off a curb and nearly toppled over when his foot hit an uneven patch of sidewalk. That moment stuck with him. He felt fine, but shaken. What if he had fallen? What if no one had been around? His doctor asked him a question that changed his mindset. How often do you challenge your balance? George was confused. I walk every day, he said. That's got to be good for balance, right? But here's the thing. Walking doesn't actually train balance. It keeps you moving, yes, but it doesn't engage the small stabilizing muscles in your ankles, your core, and your hips the way balance-specific movements do. Those muscles are like your body's natural shock absorbers. And if they aren't being challenged, they slowly start to weaken. George started small, standing on one foot while brushing his teeth, walking in a straight line heel to toe across his living room, practicing shifting his weight slowly side to side. It didn't take long before he noticed that his footing felt stronger and his reflexes sharper. And the most important part, his confidence came back. That fear of falling, it no longer ruled his mind. Let me ask you something. Have you had a moment recently where you reached for something and had to steady yourself? Or maybe you put on a sock and realized you couldn't quite balance without grabbing onto something? These little moments matter. They're signs. And the beautiful truth is, the body still responds to training. Balance can improve at any age. All it takes is intention and just a few minutes a day. We've talked about strength, and we've talked about balance. Two pillars of longevity that walking alone simply doesn't cover. But we're just getting started. Because there's another hidden shift that happens quietly with age, something that can stiffen your joints, restrict your movement, and make even basic tasks feel like a stretch. Literally. Let's take a moment and think about the last time you tried to reach for something on the top shelf, or bend down to tie your shoes. Did your body move freely? Or did you feel tightness, maybe even a bit of discomfort? That feeling, my friend, is your flexibility talking. And if you're over 70, it's likely saying, "Help me out here." The third habit you need, especially if you've been depending solely on walking, is taking care of your flexibility and mobility. And I don't just mean touching your toes. I mean being able to move with ease, comfort, and control in all directions. Because that's what makes everyday life not just manageable, but enjoyable. Bill, 78, thought he was doing everything right. He walked every morning, drank plenty of water, and tried to eat well. But then slowly, things started feeling tighter, stiffer. Getting out of bed in the morning became more of a slow shuffle than a stretch. Turning his head to back out of the driveway, that started to feel like he was made of concrete. It wasn't until Bill's doctor asked him to try a simple neck rotation that the light bulb went off. Try turning your head all the way to the left, then to the right. Does it feel smooth? Bill tried. And right there in the clinic, he realized. He was moving like an old car with rusty hinges. Mobility loss doesn't happen overnight. It sneaks in, a little bit at a time. A slight tightness here, a shorter reach there. And because it happens slowly, many people just chalk it up to aging. But here's the truth. Aging doesn't cause stiffness. Inactivity does. When you stop using your full range of motion, your muscles and joints slowly forget how. So Bill got to work. Not by running marathons, but by simply adding some gentle, mindful movement to his day. Shoulder rolls in the morning, knee lifts while holding onto the kitchen counter, gentle spinal twists while seated, a few ankle circles while watching TV. It didn't take long. Within a few weeks, he started to feel looser, lighter, and, most importantly, more in control of his body again. You don't need to twist yourself into a pretzel. Just a few daily stretches, some slow, deliberate joint movements, and attention to how your body feels can transform the way you move. Because when your body is more flexible, everything else becomes easier. Walking, standing, turning, reaching, lifting. You'll move with less effort and more grace. And that's a wonderful feeling at any age. If you'd like to test your flexibility right now, here's something easy. Stand up straight and slowly turn your head to the left, then to the right. Notice how far you can go before you feel tension. If it feels stiff or you can't turn smoothly, it might be time to gently introduce some flexibility movements into your daily routine. A little goes a long way, especially after 70. Now, there's another area we need to talk about, one that rarely gets the attention it deserves, yet quietly affects everything from how you stand, to how you breathe, to how stable you are on your feet. It's your core. And no, I'm not talking about six-pack abs. Jack, 75, never thought much about his core. He wasn't trying to look like a bodybuilder. He just wanted to stay healthy and keep moving. He walked several times a week, played with his grandkids, and kept active. But he noticed that his posture was changing. He was starting to hunch forward. His lower back ached more after long walks. And worst of all, he found himself feeling off balance more often. When he mentioned this to his doctor, the advice was simple but surprising. You need to strengthen your core. Not just for looks, but for function. A strong core helps stabilize your spine, support your posture, and protect you from back pain and falls. It's like the foundation of a house. When it's strong, everything else stays upright and solid. When it's weak, things begin to crumble. So Jack began practicing simple core strengthening movements. No gym, no crunches. Just standing against a wall with his shoulders, hips, and head touching. Sitting up tall and gently bracing his belly muscles like he was preparing for a hug. Even just practicing mindful breathing where he engaged his lower abs made a huge difference. Within weeks, his back pain lessened, he stood taller, and he even noticed his balance improving. That's because the core is your body's control center. When it's activated, every other movement becomes more stable. Your steps are steadier, your back is more protected, and your posture feels natural again. You can try this at home right now. Stand with your back against a wall, with your heels a few inches away. Can you keep your head, shoulders, and hips touching the wall comfortably? Or does it feel unnatural, like you're forcing it? If it's uncomfortable, that's your core telling you it needs attention. And trust me, it's never too late to start. Simple breathing exercises, pelvic tilts while seated, or even gentle torso rotations can help wake up those deep, stabilizing muscles. It's not about doing 100 sit-ups. It's about teaching your body to stay upright, supported, and strong from the center out. So far, we've talked about the importance of maintaining muscle through strength training, protecting your balance with simple movements, improving your flexibility to stay loose and mobile, and now building a strong core to hold it all together. These aren't extra things. They're the real foundation of healthy movement after 70. And you might be surprised to learn that walking. Yes, even something as natural and common as walking can actually become a source of strain if you're not careful. Especially when it's the only kind of movement your body gets. Because the truth is, our joints after 70 are not what they used to be. The wear and tear, the thinning cartilage, the drying joint fluid, it all adds up. And that brings us to the final habit that too few people are talking about, but might be the most important one yet. If you've ever gone out for a long walk and come home with aching knees, sore hips, or a nagging discomfort in your lower back, you might have brushed it off as just getting older. But what if I told you that it's not simply age? It's your joints trying to tell you they need something different. You see, after 70, our joints become more vulnerable to wear and tear. The cushioning cartilage in places like our knees and hips thins out. Joint fluid, which once kept everything smooth and pain-free, begins to dry up. And repetitive movements, like walking the same route the same way, day after day, can begin to irritate rather than help. That's why the fifth and final habit you need to know about is this: Protect your joints with low-impact, joint-friendly movements. Not because walking is bad, but because your body needs more than just pounding the pavement to stay strong and pain-free. Let me tell you about Larry. He's 77, active, sharp, and proud of his daily 3-mile walk. But over time, Larry began to feel different. His knees felt stiff in the mornings. There was a dull ache in his lower back after walking, especially on concrete. He started dreading the activity that used to bring him peace. One day, his doctor asked him a simple question. "Do you ever move your body without impact?" Larry blinked. "You mean, like swimming?" The doctor smiled. "Exactly." So Larry made a small shift. He replaced one of his daily walks with a gentle swim at the local pool. Another day, he tried riding a stationary bike. On a rainy afternoon, he followed a seated Tai Chi video on YouTube. And the difference? Remarkable. Within weeks, the stiffness in his joints eased. He still walked, but less. And because he was moving smarter, not harder, he actually felt stronger, more refreshed, and more confident in his body than he had in years. It's easy to forget that pain is a message, not a punishment. And when your joints are sore, they're not saying stop moving. They're saying move differently. Low-impact movements like swimming, cycling, Tai Chi, and even chair-based stretches provide all the benefits of exercise, without grinding down your joints in the process. They increase blood flow, improve joint lubrication, and strengthen the muscles around your joints so they stay supported and protected. You don't need a gym membership or fancy gear. Just listen to how your body responds. After you move, do you feel lighter, more open, or do you feel tense and achy? That answer will tell you more than any step counter ever could. Here's a quick test. Sit in a chair, then stand up slowly without using your hands. Pay attention to how your knees and hips feel. Do they move smoothly? Or is there tightness, clicking, or discomfort? If you're feeling strain, it might be time to incorporate more gentle, joint-friendly alternatives into your routine. You're not giving up walking. You're adding balance to your movement menu. And that's one of the smartest things you can do after 70. Now, as we begin to wrap up, I want you to take a moment to reflect on everything we've talked about. Walking is a beautiful, beneficial habit, but it shouldn't be the only habit. If you truly want to stay strong, independent, and vibrant, after 70, your body needs more than just steps. It needs strength. It needs balance. It needs flexibility. It needs a strong core. And it needs protection for the parts that carry you every single day. Your joints. You might be thinking, that's a lot. And I get it. But here's the good news. It doesn't take hours a day, and you don't have to do it all at once. In fact, small changes, just 5 to 10 minutes here and there, can completely change how your body feels, moves, and ages. You are not too old. You are not too late. Your body is still listening, and it's ready to respond. Maybe today, you'll try standing on one foot while brushing your teeth. Tomorrow, you might add in a few shoulder rolls while waiting for the coffee to brew. Maybe you'll pick up a resistance band next time you're at the store, or take a gentle stretch before bed instead of skipping straight to the TV. Whatever it is, start small. Start now. Because this chapter of your life can be one of the healthiest, strongest, and most freeing chapters yet. You've earned that. You deserve that. And it's within reach. Now I'd love to hear from you. Have you noticed any changes in your strength, balance, or mobility recently? Is there one small change you feel inspired to make after watching this video? Please share in the comments below. I read them all, and they truly make a difference. You're not alone in this journey. We're a community here, supporting each other every step of the way. And if you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to Strong Elderly Life. Your support helps us continue creating videos to keep you informed, inspired, and empowered. Don't forget to hit the bell so you don't miss our next one. Until then, take care of yourself. Mind, body, and soul. Here's to walking smarter, living stronger, and feeling younger. No matter your age.